asking for the YouTube subscribers. Well, subscriber rate. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe if I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
The card we all have been waiting for, guys. UFC 280 back on the island, Yas Island in Abu Dhabi. We got a stack card here. More of a card personally for me to enjoy rather than be betting on personally, but I have found some spots that will be sent out to my clients and also some free picks for you guys, leans and what to avoid. Like usual, I'll be breaking down the main card and one bonus prelim fight for you guys, Brady versus Muhammad. I do think that should be a main card fight. 17-3 all fights client run right now, guys. 17-3. You're not going to find that in the market. Only bet one fight last week though, and it was Grosso in a mixed parlay. Whoever lost the side on that. So no profit overall in that, but another side winner for us with Grosso. In my opinion, Grosso, I don't think she's ready for a title shot. I don't think she should get the next title shot, but I do think she should be a number one contender fight, whoever that may be. She just looked one step ahead on the feet. I do think she did show great takedown defense, and that was the question going into the fight, right? Is she going to be able to hold off Araujo's takedowns? And she did. She did, which I did think she was going to because she was training hard. She did look improved in that area. So great win for Grosso. I expect her to eventually get a title shot one day. If it's not next fight, maybe just a fight or two away. Bunch of leans hit for you guys as well and free video play winners. I did give you guys Grosso also in the video, so hopefully you guys did tail that. Update, let's do an update on all sports, starting with UFC, of course. Technically another perfect card, going 1-0 last week. 17-3 run, 85% longer term, which matters more. 97-51, 65% long term, guys. Keep in mind, this isn't, some people out there, they pick minus 500s and minus 400s, the minus 800s. That's not counting that. That's counting the plays I send out to clients. So that is the updated record here. PGA down week last week, just under 80 units in the prop market when we just got over 80. Up and down in the PGA right now. 18-10 right now prop run. 10-3 matchups run. CGA Cup this weekend. NFL another profitable week. This week 65% run since week 2, guys. That's all bets. 26-14 run, profitable in all markets right now. Props, spreads, totals, teasers. Quick MLB, NHL, NBA update. Dodgers blew it for us. We did have them in the futures market. They did not obviously come through. We also had a single game on them, winner over Padres, and Padres beat them in both games. A little surprising there. It will be another profitable MLB year, though, at low volume. Didn't focus on it a ton. NHL reminder from last year. We started 0-1. We did miss out on the Kings in one of the plays. But going back to last year, we're on a 43-17 NHL run, guys. Again, I'll be very low volume in the NHL, especially early on in the year, trying to figure out the teams, find some good spots throughout the year. Same with NBA. I will be low volume, especially to start the year. We did miss out on Philly earlier on. SystemSportsCapping.com, guys. SystemSportsCapping.com. Sign up today to start profiting long-term on all sports. That's what we're able to do here. If you want to win in all sports market long-term and throughout the year, this is the service for you. Updated records daily over there at SystemSportsCapping.com. Free picks, I post there as well sometimes. Client comments and my resume as well over the years. SystemSportsCapping.com is the website. System Capping is all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc. Like this video, guys. It helps me out a lot. Shows me, show away for your support over the years. If you have a client card, or if you're a client, do appreciate that. Do appreciate you video viewers as well. So give me a comment and share this video. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Shop around, guys. Shop around for best prices. Have multiple books so you can get the best price. It's some of the best advice I can give you as a sports handicapper. If you just have one book, you're limiting yourself. Have multiple books. For some people that don't have enough money to have multiple books, maybe just put in a small amount and maybe don't use those as much unless the line's a lot better. Let's get right into it, guys. Main event. Main event. It is time for this card breakdown. I'm so excited for this card. Again, more to watch the fights than bet on them. But of course, I will be betting on them. Oliveira plus 160. Makhachev minus 190. Line's moving. Line is moving. Oliveira, there's some 130s out there. You can get Makhachev out minus 160. So there is money coming in Oliveira. I get it. When you see Oliveira that high, throwing a small unit on Oliveira is definitely not a bad play, right? Makhachev gets his title shot that he's been asking for. And Khabib and his whole camp. They think he's ready for it. We will see. Even though he really hasn't beat anyone to deserve it. However, 10-fight win streak's hard to ignore, right? You only can beat who you get put in front of you. So you got to understand that, Islam's doing what he's supposed to do. And he's destroying guys, right? 4 finishes in a row is something to say. Even though if it's not top-rated ranked guys, he still has some nice wins over there like Dober and Hooker. Off the top of my head, Moises was a good fight too, even though it did go, I think, 3rd, 4th round there. So, Islam, I just still don't think he gets his respect that he deserves. And you can obviously change that here, right? With a win over Oliveira. Oliveira, his story is just incredible. You guys probably seen it throughout the year with his story. It is incredible just how he obviously is here and his background making it to here, and just the way he started his career, right? Didn't start well from him. Looked like he gave up in fights. He lost fights, and then he went on this run. He really found himself. Some like say he went back to the dungeon like Batman and just started training and really getting into his attributes and what he's best at, right? Does have the most finishes. Does have the most submissions also in this division, so it's something to say. Definitely something to say, and I definitely could see him winning this fight. We got to look at it, though. When I think a fight's very close on paper, I have to look at it and break down all the stats, and we know Makhachev is the better wrestler. So when someone is a better wrestler and it's a very close fight, in my opinion, you have to always lean to the wrestler here. Right? And Makhachev is not just a wrestler. He's a wrestler grappler, and when he gets someone down to the ground, they're just not getting up. They're just not getting up. Now, when this fight gets to the ground, Charles is going to be throwing everything. He's going to be throwing elbows. He's going to be throwing punches from the bottom. He's going to be trying to submit off his back, which he's great at. Right? We just haven't seen him against a wrestler or like Makhachev and grappler like Makhachev. So it's hard to see or say specifically is Oliveira going to handle this pressure and this Makhachev on top easily. We just haven't seen it, right? We can't say if he's going to or not. So with Oliveira here, I definitely do think he's live at this price. I do think he has the better stand-up in this fight. Makhachev's going to want to get this fight down to the ground, in my opinion. And I do think Oliveira is going to bring the fight like he always does. He's going to come out strong and come after Makhachev, which could lead for Makhachev to bring him down, right? He could make a mistake in there with a wild shot, and Makhachev goes for the takedown and keeps him there. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I do think Charles does have a good shot at this price. Plus 130, though, now that I see on some books. Not worth it. If I could get Makhachev like at minus 150, I definitely would bet that. But more from a side standpoint, I don't love from a side standpoint. I love this as a fan and watching the fight. What I could see, though, definitely is this fight definitely not going all 5 rounds. Just due to the styles, right? Like I mentioned, last time Makhachev went to a decision, it's been a while, right? It's been 4 straight fights with finishes. And 10 fights, only 1 went to decision for Oliveira. So this fight definitely is going to, I would say, under in the round. and not to go the distance. Obviously, you got to pay for that, but if you're not worried about the price, that's going to be my favorite play here. And I'm going to lean Makhachev due to the wrestling. I'm going to lean his way. No one has shown that they can handle him at all. No one was really close to handling him. And Charles, I do think his takedown defense isn't great, so I think Islam can win there in that department. But would I be surprised if Oliveira wins? No. Do I like to bet against Oliveira? No, and that's probably why I won't have a bet on Islam for my clients. But I'm going to lean for video purposes to Islam. Sterling minus 175 versus Dillashaw plus 150. Another title shot here, and probably the hardest fight to determine, at least from my eyes. Out of the big fights and on the main card. You know, Dillashaw coming off an injury. Showed how good and tough he is, though, against Corey Sandhagen, right? He fought on one knee and still won that fight. Some say it's questionable if he won the fight or not. But this guy just shows a ton of heart. You know, great gas tank. Volume's there on his punches, and he can wrestle. He's an all-around fighter, right? He's shown that over time and time again. And remember, he didn't fight Corey Sandhagen. He was off for 2 years in that fight. Came back, beat Corey Sandhagen, was on a run. It was just very impressive from Dillashaw. So he's just so hard to count out. So hard to count out. And that's why I think there is value here at plus 150 with Dillashaw. Right? When you look at Sterling, obviously he's coming off that big win versus Yondu, that back control. Very impressive jiu-jitsu. I just have a hard time seeing him getting this fight down to the ground. Dillashaw's the better straight up wrestler. Now it's different if you guys don't know MMA wrestling and wrestling. You've put these guys in just a wrestling ring, wrestling mat. Dillashaw wins the wrestling. But it's an MMA wrestling, so it's different, which Sterling has some good MMA wrestling, of course. And I do think he has the better jiu-jitsu over Dillashaw. On the feet, I think it's close, but I would lean Dillashaw on the feet. Sterling is very unorthodox. I think he has been adding that jab, which could work for him. Obviously, he does have the reach advantage here as well, but most people do have a reach advantage and height advantage over Dillashaw, and it hasn't phased them in the past. The thing here where I probably won't go a heavy unit, or if I do bet Dillashaw, it's going to be a smaller unit, just because the injury, he is a little older now, and Sterling does have that advantage in athleticism and speed. So could I bet Sterling at this price at minus 175? Definitely not. So it would have to be a smaller unit on Dillashaw if I were to bet this fight. But I won't be betting a side on this fight unless I can get to the minus, unless I can get a better price on Dillashaw, maybe a little higher if we can see some late Sterling money come in. So I will be watching the market for that. But I can definitely see this fight going deep into the fight. So if you can look at the over and rounds, and I wouldn't be surprised if this fight goes all 5 guys. Both guys aren't known for their finishes on the feet. So where would the finish come? Right, where would the finish come? It could be a submission. That's where I only can see it. And it probably would be from Sterling to submission, right? So I can see this fight going all 5. It'd be a war, a very close fight on the judges' scorecards. But if you're getting a close fight like this, there is some value there with Dillashaw for a smaller unit, especially due to the price here. If you can wait and shop around, see if you can get something better than plus 150, a small unit wouldn't be a bad bet at all. Jan, minus 270 versus OMalley, plus 220. Number 1 contender fight? That's what Dana White said. This fight I'm very excited for. Very excited for. See if O'Malley's ready for one of the best fighters in this division and in the world. Here's how I think this one plays out. You know, money's been coming in on O'Malley this week, mainly due to he's a popular guy, right? He's flashy. He talks. I get it. But now plus 220, I don't think there's enough meat on the bones here. If you got it at 3-1, congratulations. I do think there's some value there on O'Malley at 3-1. But now it's a little watered down for me. You know, the big test for Sean O'Malley here. This is going to be by far the hardest fight he's ever fought, right? We've seen his toughest test against Munoz. I don't know what happened in that fight. It was a terrible fight. No one won that fight. There's no contest, but you know, I do think O'Malley probably would have won the fight at the end of the game if it went all 3 rounds. He was picking them apart in the second round. He was using his distance game well, and that's what Sean O'Malley has to do to win fights. He has to play the distance game, and that's what he's been great at, right? He's been able to play the distance, use his reach in fights, and use his movement to frustrate fighters. And you could frustrate Jan if Jan decides to just kickbox. I don't think he's going to decide to just kickbox, guys. I don't see Jan just deciding to stand in front of him and let Sean use his reach and distance game. I think Jan's going to make it ugly. I think he's going to try to come inside on him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he uses the wrestling. As of right now, he has a wrestling advantage here. Jiu-Jitsu, I'm not too sure. Sean O'Malley has trained with one of the higher level Jiu-Jitsu guys in Coutinho. And O'Malley continues to improve in Jiu-Jitsu. He obviously has Tim Walsh, his black belt Jiu-Jitsu. So he's around high-level grapplers. I probably would lean as O'Malley's the better Jiu-Jitsu guy. But obviously Jan is going to be the scrappier guy, the tougher guy, in my opinion. And also he's going to have the better wrestling. We don't see O'Malley wrestle at all. Zero. But I think if he does get taken down, he's not going to be a fish out of water. I think he's going to be able to move around and at least try to get up. Jan's not known for keeping you on the ground and like ground and pounding you. But we've seen before, Jan was able to take down Sterling, and Sterling has high-level wrestling, definitely better wrestling than O'Malley. So that's going to be interesting there. How is Jan going to approach this fight? If he decides to stand up and just kickbox with Sean O'Malley, flip of a coin. Right? I would probably, if you tell me this is going to be a kickboxing fight and no one's allowed to use takedowns or wrestling and you're giving me this price, I would actually take O'Malley, guys, at plus 220. But it's not that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about an MMA fight where I've seen Jan in number one contender fights. He's won the belt. He's fought in the big fights. He's fought the best of the guys. So yes, I'm going to have to say Jan's going to win this fight, but I can't bet it at minus 270. Remember, this is a big fight for Sean O'Malley, first career. Imagine Sean O'Malley with the confidence he already has getting a title shot or having a belt. Wow. He's going to be so big for the UFC, right? I just don't think he's ready as of yet. I don't think he's ready as of yet against a killer like Jan. Jan's a very difficult guy to bet against for me. I have a very hard time to bet against Jan. Unless it's a big price like this and I'm doing a small unit, okay, but again, I'm not going to bet Jan at this price. I do think Jan wins this fight, though. It's a fight I can also see going deep into the fight or possibly all 3 rounds. But it's going to be very interesting to see how Jan approaches this fight. Is he going to come out strong and aggressive and attack O'Malley, which no one really has. No one really has. So it's going to be interesting to see how this fight plays out. I'm very excited for this one. Will I have a bet on it? Probably not. Probably not, but I do think Jan finds a way to get it done if he makes it ugly, he wrestles and makes an MMA match and not a kickboxing fight. We got Darwish plus 160 versus Gamra minus 190. Another big fight, guys. Darwish coming off an injury, which is concerning. He was so close to getting that big fight against Islam or even a title shot, but then got injured, and then a few other things didn't work out for him. So just remember, though, he is on a 7-fight win streak. A couple nice names in there as well. He has a win over Tony Ferguson where he dominated. Diego Ferreira is always a tough guy. Close, Dober, Moises. He has some good wins there. Not high-level guys, but he has some big wins there. Excellent jiu-jitsu. Can get the fight down to the ground as well. He averages over just around 2. And he'll fight and bang on his feet as well. He's a well-rounded fighter, Darwish. Has been chinny at times. This is a while ago, though. So I don't really play that. In fact, I'm not too worried with Gamrot on the feet. Well, you have to be worried, though, with Gamrot is his wrestling very high level. Almost 5 takedowns, guys, here on average. Gamrot's wrestling is very high level. He's going to be able to get Darwish down to the ground. It's just how is Darwish going to respond when he gets it there? He's going to obviously try to work off his back and throw up some submissions, etc. But Gamrot's very high level there. He's just coming off a huge win over Arman Tsarukyan. And Arman, I was very high on Tsarukyan. Very high on him. I was surprised Gamrot won that fight. Very close fight. 5 rounds didn't really... Gamrot's cardio is great, but the 5 rounds didn't really suit him. It was his first 5 round as well in the UFC. So this is a 3-round fight, So I can see Gamrot just chain wrestling here, chain wrestling, getting Darwish down. Stand up, I think it's very even on the feet. I probably maybe lean Darwish just because he has some power. We see him knock out guys before. But that wrestling, like I mentioned at the top of the card, guys, when a guy has a clear wrestling advantage, I always have to look his way if you're asking me to bet the fight. And Gamrot's just coming off that Arman win. I'm high on the guy. Minus 190 again, not great. Guys, value on all these dogs. Value on all these dogs. And 1 or 2 of them are going to win the fights. 1 or 2 of them I think are probably going to win. I can see Darwish doing that. I'm not going to have a bet on Gamrot. I can definitely see this fight going over 2.5 rounds. So I probably would look that way. If we see a finish here, I don't really see where it's going to be. Maybe in a submission game, but both guys are great on the mat. So I see that canceling out. Gamra should win this fight. I lean Gamrot here, and the over 2.5 rounds may make my betting card. Chookagian plus 175 versus Pharaoh minus 220. This is a fun fight, guys. Both girls are fairly similar on the feet. Both good strikers, like to throw volume. Pharaoh a little more power, though. She can finish fights. This will be her biggest test, of course, for Chookagian. Chookagian continues to grind out wins, 4-fight win streak. Very tough girl to fight if you just decide to fight her on the feet for 3 rounds. Very difficult because she uses that range. She uses that kickboxing skills and striking to win fights by decision. Pharaoh, she has more of a dynamic striking ability, in my opinion. Spinning this, spinning that. She can wrestle as well. She can get this fight down to the ground, where I don't think Chookagian is great at. She has improved her takedown defense, so Pharaoh could struggle to get the fight down to the ground, but I like Pharaoh a lot. Chookagian has been there, has done that. That's the one thing I'm concerned about. But Pharaoh seems to be the real deal, guys. And bringing new blood into this division. Chookagian had her chance. She got dominated in the title fight that she had. She continues to find ways. But I did have some problems in that Rebus fight. I didn't love that fight for her. She sneaked out another decision win. But I think Pharaoh is the real deal, guys. I do think she finds a way to get this fight done. I have to lean a decision as well for Pharaoh. I think Chookagian, obviously, she could be finished. Pharaoh could find a later finish in this fight. It wouldn't surprise me. But, minus 210 on Pharaoh is not pleasing a number. But you can get a decision. You can get that plus money. So I would have to look that way. I'm fairly high on Pharaoh. Would I be surprised if Chookagian just wins another decision in a close fight and the judges decide? No. I would definitely not be surprised. But this is a big fight for Pharaoh to actually get. I don't know if she'll get a title shot from this, but number 1 contender for sure. And I'm high on her. Again, Chookagian, very tough opponent. This fight could be, if you're betting Pharaoh, it could be a nail biter, and it could go to the judges. It could be like a split decision or something. So be worried about that. But I like Pharaoh. I do think she has the bigger strikes, the more meaningful strikes in there, and I do think she can sneak in on a takedown. And I do think she can get this fight down to the ground. I mentioned at the top, I will talk about the main prelim fight, guys. I'm excited for this fight. This fight could be a main event on a UFC Vegas card. And we're getting it as a prelim main event. So excited for this. Bilal plus 130 versus Brady minus 160. Prices are very shop around on this one. This is interesting. Bilal, again, of course, is the underdog. People keep undervaluing him, and he continues to find ways to win. Why should I not look at the value here at plus 130? There are some reasons why, but I was on Luque in his last fight, and he just showed that it doesn't matter if Luque is better on the feet, doesn't matter if Luque is better in the grappling department. Bilal finds ways. Bilal's a very good grappler, very good wrestler, and not bad on the feet. Not great on the feet, not bad on the feet. The thing is with Brady, he's not great on the feet either. I actually would lean Bilal as the better striker, just from what I've seen from Brady, but Brady's going to be, I think, personally, the stronger guy in there, the better grappler, wrestler. And how is Bilal going to be able to handle that if he's on top? Now, can Brady just take down Bilal easily? I don't know. That's the big question on this fight, and what I'm very excited to see. It may be a good live betting opportunity to see how Brady approaches it. If this fight just gets canceled out because both guys can't take down each other, which is a very possible scenario here, Bilal could just win the fight on the feet, right? Bilal's been in there with top-level guys. Obviously, when he's in there with Edwards on the feet, Edwards kind of picked him apart. But that's Edwards. He's your champion, and he's probably one of the best strikers in the whole UFC. So I think Bilal is the better striker, but it's going to be very interesting to see if Brady can get this fight to the ground. He has a big win over Chiesa, where we thought Chiesa was the better wrestler, but Brady showed that he wasn't. It's going to be interesting, guys. I'm excited for this fight. Obviously, Bilal's been training in Abu Dhabi for a long time with Khabib the past month or so. That's something you got to play in factor. He's been wrestling with the best guys to get ready for this fight. Is it too soon for Brady? 15-0. Hasn't fought any big name guys besides Chiesa. Jake Matthews, decent win as well, but you know, Bilal's been in there with the better guys. I do think he has the tools to beat Brady if he can keep this fight standing. So we're going to have to see that. I think if Brady can get on top, I think he's a stronger guy in that position. He is a very high-level jiu-jitsu grappler, Brady. And if he can get that fight in his favor, in his positions, he has a chance here. But, you know, I'm going to have to take the value here at plus 130 until Bilal shows me he can't win as an underdog. Am I going to bet it? I haven't as of yet. If it is, it will be a smaller unit due to the price. I'm going to shop around, see if I can get something better than plus 130 as well. But I'm excited for this one. Watch the live market. See how Brady comes out in the first round if he struggles. If he struggles to get the fight down to the ground, quick live bet on Bilal. That's what I can suggest here. And this is definitely a fight I can see going all 3 rounds. Over 2.5 fight goes the distance. 3-round fight. Bilal definitely not known for his finishing ability. And if Brady gets to finish, you would have to think it would be through submission. And I do think Bilal has good enough defense to avoid that. So definitely a fight I can see going all 3 rounds. That might make my betting card this weekend. That will do it, guys. That will do it. I'm super excited for this card. If you're not ordering this card on pay-per-view, you're crazy. I know a lot of you probably stream out there, but this is a card to order and definitely worth the $60. NFL Week 7 video out tomorrow. Look out for that. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.